The film begins with Nora, a singer performing at Luna Club, a luxurious nightclub. Her melodious voice immediately captivates the audience, including a powerful drug dealer named Manuel Alvarez, who comes with his lover. After singing, Nora receives praise from Manuel, who then invites her to sit with him. Nora feels happy and asks for a glass of wine. So Manuel calls the club's bartender, Akeem, to bring a French red wine that had just arrived the day before. While waiting, Nora chats casually with Manuel, telling him that she is from Florida and is trying to pursue her big dream of becoming a famous singer. Manuel, fascinated by her, offers her a permanent job as an exclusive singer at the club with a salary 3 times what she usually earns in Chicago. The offer is too tempting to refuse, so Nora accepts it. Soon, Akeem returns with a bottle of wine, but when pouring it, he accidentally spills it on Nora's dress. He hurriedly apologizes, and Nora can actually accept it, but Manuel reacts differently. He explodes with anger and cruelly stabs Akeem to death.
It's okay.
I'm so sorry.
Nora is shocked and terrified, while Manuel coldly orders her to clean herself up and firmly states that from that moment on, Nora will only sing for him. The scene shifts, showing Akeem's body being dumped on the beach. Switching to Los Angeles, 2 LAPD agents, Mark and Phil, are conducting an operation to arrest a group of drug dealers. They wait in the car, and amid the seriousness, Phil chats about his new girlfriend with beautiful blue eyes.
Wrap around me, crystal blue eyes, like swimming pools.
Mark responds coldly because he is uninterested. To change the subject, Phil mentions the tattoo on Mark's finger. Reluctantly, Mark explains that it is the name of his ex-wife, Akila, whom he still loves to this day. Shortly after, the dealers arrive. Mark immediately reminds Phil to be serious.
Hey here. Get serious.
They get out of the car and begin negotiations.
Exactly, we gonna bullshit. What?
One dealer approaches Phil with a gun to check the money, while another shows the goods to Mark. Mark tests the drugs with a knife, tastes them, and admits the quality is good. He then asks Phil to hand over the money, but suddenly a gun is pointed at Phil's head, making the situation tense. Within seconds, Phil turns around and tries to wrestle the gun, sparking a shootout. Meanwhile, Mark manages to hold another dealer at gunpoint and orders him to surrender, but the man resists, forcing Mark to take him down. After the incident, Mark receives a shocking phone call. He is told that his younger brother, Akeem, has just been killed on the island where they were born. Shocked and filled with grief, Mark immediately returns home for the funeral. There, the priest praises Akeem's good deeds and prays for his soul. After the ceremony, Mark and his mother, Yvonne, scatter flowers on the grave. Also present is Akila, his ex-wife, who comforts Yvonne and encourages Mark. Shortly after, Manuel arrives pretending to offer condolences to Akeem's family. He even offers help if they need it, though Mark replies briefly with few words. After the funeral, Mark and his mother return home. They reminisce while looking at Akeem's belongings, including a watch that Yvonne gives to Mark. In their conversation, Mark asks what really happened to Akeem, but his mother does not know. She only explains that since 7 years ago, when Mark left the island, many things have changed. Mark insists he must find out the truth, but his mother begs him not to get involved, reminding him that she could lose him too.
Tell me what happened.
I don't know.
With a heavy heart, Mark tries to calm her down and tells her to rest. The next day, Mark goes to the police station and meets Sheriff Nate Wayland, his childhood friend. Nate explains that since Mark left, the island has turned into a nest of crime. He gives Mark the investigation file on Akeem's case and suspects his death is linked to gang wars. Nate promises to update him if there are developments, but Mark, still doubtful, chooses not to argue.
But when I do, you'll be the first to know.
After that, Mark visits Akila, who now teaches martial arts to children on the island. They catch up, happy to learn that both are still single after all these years. Akila expresses her sympathy for Akeem's death and says there are many oddities. She explains that since Manuel arrived on the island, he bought banks, construction companies, hotels, and even controlled the economy in just a few years. Worse, he runs a drug network and uses gangs to intimidate residents. Everyone hates him, but is forced to depend on him. Aquila also reveals that before he died, Akeem worked as a bartender at Manuel's Luna Club.
Took a job as a bartender, working for Alvarez.
This makes Mark even more suspicious, though Aquila warns that Manuel is not someone to be underestimated.
Alvarez.
Just be careful.
Mark finally dares to visit Manuel's club. At first, he is blocked by Manuel's men, but Manuel lets him in, pretending to grieve and claiming Akeem died because of gang problems. He even suggests Mark look for information at another club Akeem often visited. Secretly,
to me, he may have gotten himself into some troubles with the gangs.
Manuel plans to get rid of Mark with the help of a northern gang. After leaving the club, Mark meets an old friend to retrieve a box he once left.
Of course. I buried it where you told me to.
The box contains a gun, a sign that he is preparing for something bigger. That night, Mark goes to the club Manuel mentioned. There he finds gangsters partying. Mark firmly stops the music and declares that he does not want to hurt anyone, only to know who killed his brother. The gangsters refuse to cooperate and threaten him, leading to a brutal fight. Outnumbered, Mark defeats them one by one. Finally, another gang arrives with guns and shoots at him, forcing Mark to flee on a motorcycle. When they fail to catch him, the gang receives new orders: attack his mother's house. They enter the dark, empty house and head to the bedroom, but find only pillows set as a decoy. One of them finds an old family photo of Mark and keeps it, while Yvonne has already been hidden safely at Aquila's house. Soon, Mark arrives there. In Aquila's house, Yvonne is safe but still grieving. Aquila tries to console her, reminding her that she too lost a child 7 years ago. Shortly after, Mark arrives and asks for a first aid kit to treat his wounds. Meanwhile, Sheriff Nate and his team arrive at the club where Mark fought the gangsters. They find the body of a murdered bartender. Soon after, an officer reports an attempted murder at Mark's mother's house. Nate rushes there and sees pillows riddled with bullets, realizing how serious the threat is. Shortly after, Mark arrives, demanding Nate's help to find Akeem's killer. Nate tries to calm him, but Mark vows to destroy the entire mafia network on the island. Finally, Nate suggests Mark meet Nora, because she worked at Luna Club the night Akeem was killed and likely knows something. At the same time, Manuel is furious that his men failed to kill Mark and his mother. He vents his anger by executing them one by one. When one of them shows him the old photo of Mark with Aquila at the beach, which they took from his house, Manuel grows more upset but still shoots him dead. The next day, Mark visits Nora's house. At first, Nora is scared and refuses to open the door. But after Mark shows his badge, she lets him in. Mark calms her and asks about Akeem's death. Nora cries and admits that Akeem was brutally murdered by Manuel. She begs Mark to help her leave the island. Mark promises to send her home safely. At the same time, Manuel brings a new gang to the island to hunt Mark. Realizing the danger, Mark takes Nora to Nate for evacuation. Nate agrees, escorts Nora to the dock, gives her a ticket, and assigns men to send her to the airport.
My partner Phil will be waiting for you when you reach Miami.
Nora thanks him before leaving on a boat to freedom. Meanwhile, Mark returns to his mother and tells her Nora's confession. Hearing this, Yvonne cries bitterly. Mark tries to comfort her, but at the same time, Manuel's new gang begins searching for him. Meanwhile, Mark goes to Aquila's house, where Yvonne is staying. Suddenly, Manuel's men storm in and start shooting. Mark fights back with his gun, even giving one pistol to Aquila and telling her to take his mother out the back door.
Good. Take Mom.
Okay.
They run into the forest under heavy fire, while Mark stays behind to fight. Sheriff Nate eventually arrives to help. though the attackers escape. After the gunfight, Mark calls Nate to confirm he is safe, and they agree to meet again. When Manuel learns Nora has escaped, he explodes in anger again. He blames his own manager and kills him brutally.
Real sorry.
At the same time, Nate finds stronger evidence of Manuel's dark business, including suspicious transactions and international money laundering. He saves it on his private computer, then contacts Phil in Los Angeles to update him. Phil confirms Nora is safe, and they discuss the mafia network controlling the island. Meanwhile, Mark, Aquila, and his mother go to an old friend's house. The friend welcomes them warmly.
Hey, Mom, good to see you. Welcome.
Mark leaves his mother there for safety. He also asks Aquila to stay, but she refuses, insisting on staying by his side. Nate then goes to church, handing an envelope to the priest and asking that if anything happens to him, it should be given to Mark. The priest, though confused, accepts it. Meanwhile, Manuel grows desperate. He admits to Lisa that he cannot leave the island because he is an international fugitive.
Ricordate, I take care, don't worry about it, okay?
Lisa becomes depressed, seeing the worsening situation. Manuel orders his men to kill Mark immediately. That night, Mark and Aquila wait for Nate at a quiet place. They talk about their lost child. Aquila is overwhelmed with grief, and Mark comforts her, promising never to leave her again. Soon a car arrives. Nate emerges badly wounded. He tells the Manuel's men ambushed him.
I'm sorry about that. They're gonna kill us.
Shortly after, the attackers arrive, opening fire. Mark and Aquila fight back, but Aquila is captured alive after being drugged. Mark rushes back to the car and finds the dying Nate. In his final moments, Nate recalls their childhood with Akeem. Mark thanks him for his sacrifice before Nate dies in his arms. Afterward, Mark goes to church. In front of the congregation, he reveals Manuel's crimes and Nate's death. People are shocked, and when the service ends, the priest gives him Nate's envelope. Mark accepts it with gratitude.
I want you to have it.
Thank you, Father.
Elsewhere, Aquila is held captive by Manuel and Lisa in an abandoned building. Lisa tortures her, while Manuel mocks her, saying Mark has put her life in danger. But Aquila bravely responds that Mark is courageous and will come to destroy them.
Then you're really gonna be upset when he kills you.
At the police station, Mark takes over as acting chief to replace Nate. He vows not to let Nate's killers roam free. Turning on Nate's computer, he finds complete records of Manuel's illegal transactions, including international money laundering. Soon after, two children come and tell him about an abandoned hotel often used by Manuel's men. Mark thanks them and warns them to stay away for safety.
But listen, do not go anywhere near.
After the children leave, Phil suddenly appears. He says he has come to help Mark. At first, Mark is surprised, but Phil explains that he has long been working with Nate to monitor the island's mafia. Finally, Mark accepts his help. Not long after, Manuel calls Mark. He challenges him to meet the next morning at the old sugar factory. Manuel demands Mark come alone without weapons and bring Nora, in exchange for Aquila's release. Mark agrees, but immediately contacts Phil to prepare a secret team.
We leave first thing in the morning.
Copy that, buddy.
The next morning, Mark arrives at the old sugar factory. Manuel demands Nora's location as a condition for freeing Aquila, but Mark refuses. He insists on seeing Aquila first. Manuel grows furious and threatens to kill her. Meanwhile, Phil and a small SWAT team storm the building where Aquila is held. A fierce shootout breaks out. One officer is killed. Lisa fights back, but is eventually shot dead by Phil.
Here we go. Okay? That's all I want.
Aquila is rescued and even manages to fight off guards with her martial arts skills. Phil then calls Mark to inform him Aquila is safe. Mark pressures Manuel, saying Nora has already left the island. Panicked, Manuel orders his men to kill Aquila, but there is no answer because they are all dead. Mark adds that all of Manuel's forces have been destroyed.
In the afterlife.
Manuel is silent, even as his right-hand man dies before his eyes. Desperate, Manuel pulls a knife and tries to stab Mark. But Mark turns the tables, and with Manuel's own knife, kills him. At last, Mark's vengeance for his brother Akim's death is fulfilled. In a closing scene, Mark and Akila sit together by the beach. Mark returns her wedding ring and promises never to leave the island again. The story ends with the peace they finally gain after a long struggle against the cruel mafia. From this story, we learn that vengeance may give us strength to endure, but in the end, it only leaves deeper wounds. Family is the most precious treasure, and true justice is not only about revenge, but also about having the courage to stop the cycle of hatred so that our loved ones can live in peace.